Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and we are pleased to have you here today for our show, which is The Wise Ones. Every week, we have someone who is in a position to provide inspiration, hope, and education, and that person this week is Marla Regan. So before we bring her out, let's welcome the star of our show, Mr. red.olaughlin. Hello.
Howdy again today. It seems like we're bumping into each other every other hour.
Seems like that. We were chatting last night and we had a show already today. So it's always good to be with you, Red.
You have, 11 or 12 books coming out next month? Is that right?
It seems like that. I know you and I are working feverishly to meet all the deadlines to get the books out. So I really do appreciate it. And of course, this show is a show where we have people from all parts of the world who are sharing their knowledge and their expertise. And of course, you are one of these experts, Red. Tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll bring out Marla.
Well, I'm a writer. I've written 1,500 articles that are on my website and about 1,000 on LinkedIn. I've authored 7 books. I help new authors get their books written. I've helped Dr. Jacalyn with hers. I'm a publisher, speaker, and I also host some TV shows on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. I'm a researcher. I love to look inside the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. What causes a chemical reaction to go in one direction? What causes it to slow down? What causes it to speed up? What can you do to completely inhibit it? Because when you treat a cause of a problem, you can usually do something. When you're treating symptoms, you're putting a Band-Aid on and the symptoms are there, they're being masked, but the problem is not going away. And that's what I do. That's what I speak about. That's what I write about. My primary area of focus is longevity. I look at age-related diseases and everything in that general topic of age, longevity, anything dealing with our retirement, health, and wellness. That's my primary focus. So thank you for asking, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you so much, Red. And the guest that you've invited today is really an expert in an area that so many of us can benefit from. And when we think about all the time that we waste, I mean, it's incredible. If we could just learn some tips and tricks to be more productive, I think that in and of itself is a true gift. What do you think?
Absolutely. I met Marla many years ago. She's also another person here in the Houston, Texas area. Paradise with little p, and it's a wonderful environment to meet people. And I came across her and her husband, and we've been good friends over the years. Haven't done too much since COVID, but prior to that, fairly active in a lot of different things. And she has a #1 best-selling book. She's involved with decluttering, organizing, productivity, a lot of things. I thought she'd be a fantastic guest on our show today. So, Marla, please join us.
Hi, thank you, Red, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Hi, Marla. It's super exciting to have you here today. And I think one of the topics that, of course, productivity that's so important is also organization. And I'm wondering, can you have one without the other? Can you be productive if you're not organized?
Probably not. I have one of my newest quotes is opportunity favors the prepared. And when you can prepare yourself for whatever season you're in, whatever season we happen to be in of the year, that productivity is key, and something that, you know, we really need to sit down, and people just don't take time to think about where they want to be, where they want to go, and just thinking through a process. We are so busy doing and going that it's hard for us to stop and think about, hey, is this my right path? Am I in the right place? What do I need to do? How do I need to get there? How do I need to show up? And just taking time to think through the process. It slows your body down, it slows your brain down. And one of the exercises that I recommend to my clients is to sit down with an actual pen. You can't even see that, pen and paper, and write things down. Do a mind sweep. A mind sweep is just an activity of getting things off of your mind, allowing the paper to hold it. And as you do that, you just kind of feel yourself relax, because you're not in that case of, oh, I have to remember this. The paper is now holding your thoughts. And as things come down through the pen, and you will find that more things will start to pop into your head, and you can add that. Now there's some goofy things that end up on the page, like, my feet are cold, I'm hungry, what's that smell? Write it down. It just gets it off of your mind. You can scratch through it later. But what I like to do with that mind sweep is to use it as a to-do list. I go through it, and then I can assign those things a time to take care of them. I can put groupings together. All of this goes together. This has nothing to do with anything. And that way you will be more productive and get more things done when you can see it all on one list. Does that make sense?
You know, it's interesting. Back in the old days when everything was on paper, I had a pretty good memory. I could memorize people's phone numbers. I knew what I had to do. I didn't write down many things. I mean, there were a few things, yes. But as technology advanced and we have more and more things to remind us, I have, you know, my calendar here. I got my to-do. I got all these things. I find that if I don't write it down, it will not happen. And whether it's written down electronically or written down on paper, if it's not written down, all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the last 10, 15, 20 years, my whole mindset has been swept aside, and what used to be center is no longer there unless I see it. And then all of a sudden, and there's a connection between my writing and what's there that kind of reinforces it a bit. But it still doesn't guarantee it's finished. But if it's not on that list, that almost guarantees non-completion. Is that a fair statement for most of us nowadays?
Really is. And it is because more and more things are coming at us. More things from technology. We have text messages, we've got emails, just so many things. And people are sending you so many text messages and emails, and look at this, and buy my used car. And we go into social media, and there's so many ads, and just so many things that are coming at us, and we're using a different part of our brain than we used before. Because before, when we were using a pen, that's the kinesthetic part of our being, and then being able to see it on paper, and that was the not auditory, the visual part of learning. And now it's completely different. And those of us who grew up with paper and pen and making physical lists and things like that, it is a different way of thinking, of doing. And I say go back to what you know. The other day I was speaking to a women's group, and it was a younger generation. They were taking notes on their phone, And I asked them, I said, when do you have an opportunity to go back through these notes? How do you find your notes? And one girl told me it was when she's in the bathroom. And I thought, well, that's a good use of time, I guess. But still, when I get such gratification when I write something down and I can scratch it off my list, that is success as far as I'm concerned. And I know a lot of people feel that way. And then if I do something and it's not on the list, I write it down and then scratch it off. But lists are so important to keep you on task and to keep things from falling through the cracks. And it's just, I don't know how a lot of people do it. Now, I do use notes on my phone, and I will put a grocery list on there, and I have the little square where I can check things off as I get them, in my grocery basket or whatever a to-do list may be. And that is very handy to have as well. Sometimes I don't have the benefit of my paper and pen. So that is an option. And then putting that little check mark in the box is very helpful. Okay, I did that. Let's move on. So, yes.
I notice that every so often I have tons and tons of paper with all sorts of notes on them. And about every 3 or 4 months, I will sit down and it'll be a Word document, and I'm just going to capture what I think is important, because some things were important, they're done, but there might be a phone number, an email list, or address, maybe something in there. And so I just kind of collate all that information together, and then I toss the paper and begin over. So I have a master list of what was happening on that particular date. And I find that's pretty good on even the stuff that's checked off, because sometimes, yeah, it's checked off, but there was a reason it was there. And maybe it comes back every 6 months or who knows what. But I find that way I'm not constantly just stacking one page on top of another. And I use anything that I print that just has a little bit of printing on it. I'll take and fold it over and make it half a page. And that becomes my primary notes for everything. That works out very well for me. But the other thing I noticed, and you mentioned it, when do you go through your notes? Well, the other day I was at a networking event. I've mentioned this in a couple of other shows. And the latest thing is that you touch your phone to somebody else's phone on LinkedIn. And if you have it set up properly, boom, all your LinkedIn information goes 2 directions. However, there's nothing that links the date and time for that connection.
Mm.
And so if I say, oh, Marla, let's connect, and you have your LinkedIn, I tap my phone next to yours, and boom, you transfer. If I, at that point in time, I say, Marla, I'm going to send you a quick text or a quick message. And I say, nice to meet you, Marla. I have the date. I have your name. I know what you're, and, glad to hear you're about this or this, or we'll follow up later. Anyway, I have a note. I have a date. I have a time. I have a location. And now that's something I can go back and go through my phone easily because the chronology is there. But if I don't do that, I missed about 30 people on the first couple times I did that, because, well, where are these people? I can't find, I don't know where they're at, because LinkedIn, yeah, gives you the ability to transfer, but it doesn't give you the ability to coordinate that information, date, time, location. Anyway, have you had any other incidences like that, or have you experienced that yourself?
No, actually, that is new information for me. I love that. And I think it is very important that, even if somebody has a business card, which a lot of people don't anymore, they've got QR codes, but to take a picture of whatever information they have, and that will also give you a date and a time. And then also, when you take a picture, I know on my iPhone, I can scroll up from that picture, and there's a place where I can add a note where I met somebody, what was going on at the time, what the networking event was. So that's very helpful. We just came back from a trip we had been planning since before 2020. Finally made the trip, and I learned that little trick, which was so helpful because now I can go through and I know where this particular scenery is because I made a note right after I took the picture. So that is something that is similar to what you're talking about, but just an added benefit of recording date, time, and what was going on at the time. So Yes.
Okay, so that keeps us organized a bit because now we know what we have. But if we're still not making any progress, I take a look at my desk. It's reasonably cluttered, as a word you like to use. But I know where everything is. And if I move things around, I clean things up, it takes me about 2 days to get back to my cluttered stage. But I still know where everything. I know it's okay. So it's about 4 or 5 pages down on that side, or I know it's back over here. I know where things are because I work with it all the time. So is that really cluttered, or is that just my way of being organized?
Your way of being organized. When I help people organize, I ask a lot of questions first because everybody thinks differently. And I remember about 12 years ago, I went to work for somebody in their office. And hey, my job is, yes, to get things filed away, to create a system, and to clear things off. And this was not going to be a one and done type client. This was going to be a every week I'm coming in kind of organizer slash administrative assistant type thing. And I cleared the guy's desk off and I organized it while he had stepped out. And when he came back, he totally freaked out. Oh, where is everything? I knew where everything was. And I thought, oh, you're one of those. Okay. So it was a learning experience. But I always want to know, how do you look for things? Um, do you want all of your credit cards to be under C for credit cards? Or do you want your credit card Discover to be under D, and then Visa to be under V, and then MasterCard to be under M? If that's the way your brain already thinks about things, that's how we're going to keep it. I don't want to come in and have you have a completely different thought process. Now, if we're talking and I suggest we put all of your credit cards together under C, and you think, oh, that's a great idea, that would really simplify my life. Okay, let's do that. Let's make that change. But there's going to be a lot of questions asked. And when I help people move into their new home, I ask them, what was the layout in your kitchen in your old home? Where were your glasses? Where were your dishes? Where was the silverware, your pots and pans, and all of that? And I like to recreate that so that they're not having to rethink, oh, instead of going to the right, I need to go to the left, because you're in that habit already. Habits are something that happens over time, and it's great to be able to work with those habits rather than to recreate the wheel for you. So it's very important that you know what your routine is. Routines are so very important. So, and just because you may not be able to see the surface of your desk, Red, I know that you've got a lot of things going on, and you probably have a pile for publishing, and a pile for this TV program, and a pile for other things, which is perfectly okay, as long, and like you said, you know where everything is. So as long as you know where everything is and you're not constantly searching through the piles going, where is that? Then you're pretty well organized. So, and a lot of things really depends on how much space you have.
What do you
So,
think?
Yeah, so thanks for sharing that. I have a comment and then a question. I think I've moved 19 times so far in my life, and as an adult. And each time I would declutter and get rid of things, but yet I always feel like I still have too many things. And I feel like when you have a lot of stuff, that it's kind of stifling in terms of, I don't know why, the just your ability to be. And when I first started learning how to be a broadcast engineer, the guy who taught me, we were FaceTiming, and I looked at his desk. I was like, whoa, that is, I don't know what that is. And now that's what I have. So, so my question for you is that when we become decluttered, does that have an impact on our mental health? Are there some health benefits from that?
I think it does, simply because there's less things to have to keep up with. And as long as you don't begin to replace what you got rid of. If you really, let's say you got rid of your stapler. Well, you know you need a stapler. So yes, you're going to replace that. But let's say you had 4 staplers and you got rid of 3. Um, I live in a 2-story house. I need a stapler upstairs. I need a stapler downstairs, but that's all I need. So it's really looking at what is the need here. And I feel like the way we do things is a habit. And let me explain that. Um, I recently went to my 95-year-old mother's small apartment, and I started going through drawers looking to see what is here. And I ended up with 4 bags of trash in this tiny apartment. What I did not realize is because my mom was very neat, very organized, and all of that. But as I'm going through drawers, she never threw away an envelope, whether it was a Mother's Day card and somebody said, Happy Mother's Day, Mom. She kept that envelope. Well, that was part of my 4 bags of trash. But it's that habit that she was in. It could be that she came from, the generation of not throwing anything away because you never knew when you were going to need something. But still, um, it is a habit that we begin to uh, fill in where there are blank spaces. I can remember working with a client and we cleared off a bathroom shelf and she goes, now what are we going to put on there? And I said, it's okay to have an empty shelf. It's okay to have an empty drawer. It's okay to have blank spaces. Just because something was there before doesn't mean something needs to go back, unless you're going to pull something from somewhere else and put up a decorative, pretty something on there. That's perfectly all right. But don't go out and buy something just to fill in a blank. So I hope that helps answer your question.
It it absolutely does. And I have a follow-up because I know of someone who literally has to have something in every space. And when you're in that space, you almost feel like you're suffocating because there's so much stuff. And I've often thought that that has to have something to do with their self-esteem or um, not wanting to be alone. So if you have an empty shelf and you look at it, there's that fear factor that comes up that it's alone, there's nothing there, and maybe that translates into how you're feeling about your own life. What do you think, Marla?
I think that is right on. Um, so many people's habits stem from what they grew up with or did not grow up with. If people grew up with lack and now they are able to accumulate things, they are going to fill in that empty space that they had growing up. And it's okay to tell yourself, you know what, I don't need this right now. And it is a mindset shift that people go through. And it's also, once you've cleared out a room, a space, a drawer, a shelf, your desk, there is that freeing feeling of, oh, you know what, all of that stuff pulls at your energy. And it is so important to recognize what is pulling at your energy. Once you have cleared off a space, you're going to feel lighter and really enjoy that free feeling. So it does free you up and does give you more energy. I know it kind of sounds a little woo-wooey, but when you walk into a hotel room, how do you feel? You feel light, you feel free because there is not one thing in there that belongs to you. and there's nothing that is pulling at you to go do, other than if you're exhausted, the bed's pulling at you to go rest. But there isn't any item, anything in there that is going to say, hey, go throw me in the washing machine, go, clean me, go dust me. Nothing like that is pulling at you and pulling at your energy. So if you can create that in your home, you're going to just be so much more relaxed and free from stuff. So,
Two quick things that you mentioned in the process of that last answer: the cleaning up and getting rid of what you don't need. Now, being in the military, I had focused on several aspects of this kind of warfare, that kind of exercise. I get out of that, and I don't need this anymore. I throw it away, get rid of it properly, whatever it may happen to be. And then 5 years later, I wish I had never thrown that away. And so I've been burned more than a couple times because I'm not going to be in that organization anymore, but I'm going to be peripheral to that organization, and I wish I had kept something. So fast forward ahead now another 20 or 30 years, and I have terminology in my head. My wife says, we need to get rid of that. Well, that's a big flashing light. Get rid of doesn't function with me at all. I see these TV shows, we're going to donate this, we're going to trash this, we're going to save this. And even that doesn't work very well because I don't know what I'm going to throw away that I'm going to need, but I'm getting to a point that I don't like the word get rid of. That really bothers me. So from a personal perspective, somebody says that just sends off flashing klaxons in my head. But I understand, and literally since COVID, I'm starting to see things in a different light. And I don't mind allowing some things to go into donation and making sure they get used properly. There's been a lot of stuff in the process of moving here, there, and yonder. I bought a 10 by 10 shed during COVID because I want to put the car in the garage. Well, that didn't work. I filled up the 10 by 10 shed and the garage itself. So I still have the car still outside. But anyway, so there's terminology and immediate need. So how do you reconcile with somebody that you're working with? You don't have a need for it now. How do you know you're not going to have a need in the future? And what are the key words I do not want to use with you because I don't want to freak you out? How would you approach people like that?
okay, first of all, Red, you cannot scare me, okay? But I totally understand what you're talking about. When I get to this point with a client, or even myself sometimes, I will ask, could I get this somewhere again? If I let this go and I donate this to bless somebody else in their life right now, can I get this item again? If the question is no, then chances are I'm going to hold on to it for a little bit longer and maybe put a date on it. Like, okay, if I've not used this by whatever date in 6 months, a year, 3 years, whatever that date may be, then I'm going to hold on to it. Now, if the answer is yes, this is cheap and easy, and I can go get another broom anytime I want, so I can throw this one out that doesn't work anymore. Okay, so that's kind of the litmus test that you can give things is how easy is it for me to get this item again if I let go of it and it's not paying rent in my home right now. Another thing is when you're going through papers and you feel like, okay, I've got all this information. Can you get that information online again? And when you do a research for whatever that information is, you may get a more updated version of what you have on hand. And so those are the questions that I ask before getting rid of anything. And also, in Houston, especially, I'm looking at clothes. And, people have so many sweaters and scarves and things like that. And they think, well, I haven't used it in 6 months. That's not a fair amount of time to give Houstonians time to hold on to the sweaters. Hey, do you really like it? If you do, then hold on to it. If you don't really care for it or it's kind of gone out of style, let it go. But because, we only have 2 days of winter, So, but you don't want to get rid of it because you're going to need something warm to wear. So it's looking at and asking yourself a lot of questions about, can I get it easily again? If not, I'm going to hold on to it. Do I like it? Does this um, meet a need in my life right now? And it just depends on if those answers are yes or no. That's going to help you to determine how long I'm going to keep these things or if I'm going to keep them. So, does that help?
Nicely said. On the same track, looking into the future, what my wife and I have been doing here in the last probably year is that rather than wait till we both pass away and then the next generation comes in to figure out what they want, I've been giving stuff away for what they want now, where they can enjoy it and not have to wait until 20 years from now when I pass. Well, now I finally get. So we're asking them, okay, do you want this? Yes or no? If it's no, it's fine. If it's yes, then here, take it right now. I don't need it right now. So I am changing over, but from a perspective of giving something to somebody where they can enjoy it. They know where it came from. It was given to them. It wasn't. They wouldn't have picked it up because it was left over in the estate. And so it's something that has changed literally within the last year for us. And it makes it so much nicer because I have a lot of stuff. I know where it's going to go. And if I can start moving in that direction, fantastic. If I can't, well, so be it. It'll get figured out down the road. But that's something that we've been doing here lately, and I can tell because I'll have somebody, yeah, I really want that, or I can't give you that because I've already promised it over here. And so that gets all ironed out on the front end. And I think that's a really easy way. So I'll pass it on for whatever it's worth for you down the road.
You get the gratitude and you see the look on their face when they receive that special item from you. I'm working with a gentleman right now who's 91, and he recently lost his spouse, and he knows what he went through to get everything in line for her funeral arrangements and probate and all of that. So we're getting everything in line for him and the way that he wants everything to go. And I think that anybody who can start to let go of things, let it go to the right person, the one they want to have, whatever item it is, and do that now and see their gratitude and that smile on their face, and you can share in that giving of a gift. That way it's a happy gift and it's not a sad gift because they don't have you anymore. So I really love that. But um, to go through your home and to be able to evaluate every little thing, you are really doing your family a favor by doing that. And they're not having to come through and look at your pile of stuff and go, what were they thinking? So, or not. So, um, I think that's wonderful that you and your wife are doing that now and getting rid. And I'm kind of starting to do that with my girls as well, and giving them things that say this was your grandmother's, and um, so and they appreciate that. So yes, that is a huge thing to start working on.
So you're using that word, get rid of.
Passing
Anyway,
it on. Lovingly passing it on. How's that, Red?
do we have time to bring up her website?
My website is
Hang on.
organ. Oh, I'm sorry.
Our production engineer is taking care of it.
Oh, yay. Yes, 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 yes. If you see that little box right there under Chaos to Come, it says Let's Talk. And if anybody visits my website and clicks on that, it brings up my calendar. And it's a 20-minute chat, no cost, no obligation whatsoever. If you have any questions about some of the things we've spoken about here, or you have your own questions about how to do whatever needs to be done. And the audience doesn't even need to be in the Houston area for me to help them because I do e-organizing. I've helped people in New Hampshire and Missouri. My niece lives in Baltimore, and she calls me and says, "What about shoe organizing?" So we've talked extensively about that. So
As we're getting close to the end of the show, we really haven't talked much about productivity. So I think we're going to probably have to bring you back at another
okay.
time down the road so that we can talk about that aspect of your specialty and where you add value to people's lives. So who would be a good client for you since you can do it whether it's here in Houston or in Alaska or anywhere. So tell me about who a really ideal client would be for you.
An ideal client for me is really a busy mom, somebody who is pulled in so many different directions. And that really falls more under productivity and helping them to sit down, get a good game plan for not only themselves, but for their family as well. And I really love working with busy moms because they truly appreciate what I have to offer, because chances are they grew up going from soccer practice to piano practice to being in a play and all of this. And they were scattered as a child going through school. I mean, they've got lots of great experiences and all of that, but as far as home life, they really didn't experience a family time of sitting down or planning what's next and how do I get there and what do I need and all of that. So that is why I really love to sit down with busy moms and show them how to plan with their family, and for their home to keep everything rolling without things just falling through the cracks. And that is so easy to do. It's like they're like, oh no, not again. We are um, we're going through the drive-through for the fourth time this week. How can I save money and calories by not going through the drive-through again? So we sit down and really plan and have a plan of action for them. And that is, oh, that's my sweet spot. I absolutely love, love, love doing that. So
Thank you so much, Marla. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here today on The Wise Ones. You've brought so much value. And I'd also like to have you come back and talk about how business owners can really benefit from working with you, because we get so involved in everything and we kind of become, who am I talking about? Me, become a control freak about keeping everything in here. Meanwhile, we could be delegating and having somebody like you on our team to help us become more efficient. So it's just that fear factor of letting go and understanding that return on investment by working with you and how it's going to benefit the business.
absolutely love to do that. Yes,
The best way for people is through your website, organizedtime.com. Is that correct?
that is right. Yes, thank you.
And Marla Regan, spelled Marla, Regan, Regan. It's a little different spelling than what we see. So Marla Regan, organizedtime.com is the best way to reach her. Free 20-minute consultation, Zoom. So please give her a call, and we will have to set up another one-on-one, not 2-on-1, 1-on-1, 3-on-1, whatever it happens to be. We'll get you back on USA Global TV and Radio Network here to talk more on the productivity end of things, because we spent most of our time with clutter and organization today, which is very important. I think a lot of people can benefit from it. I know I have, just in listening to some of the things. I can do that. So anyway, so I really truly thank you so very much, Marla, for making it today, and I will extend another invitation to you here in the future.
That sounds great. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. Bye.
Okay.
Well, that was really informative, Red. And as you know, without going into details, I'm going to be undertaking a huge decluttering project very soon. So this is good information.
So the timing was good for you.
Yes, definitely. So, Red, your Talking Heads episode is coming up. Tell us about that, please.
The Talking Heads episode is a 6-part series. We're part 3 of 6, and it's on pain, pain management, pain control. We've talked about what pain is, how it gets transmitted in the body. Today, we're going to look more on the pain control. What can we do to control the level of pain that we're getting? Can it even be done? Now, a lot of I just take an aspirin, and but yeah, a lot of people don't like taking medicines, and there are things that we can do with regard to controlling the level or perception of the pain we have. So today we're going to be talking about pain, pain management, but specifically when the pain starts to go through the body and is transmitted from point A to point B, there are options along the way that we can stop certain chemical processes from happening, or certainly inhibit them a lot. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And that's in about 16 minutes, 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern Time on the USA Global and TV Radio Network. And so please join me, Talking Heads, and I'll see you shortly.
Thank you so much, Red. I'll see you in the other studio. Great show today.
Bye now.
Bye. And thank you to all of you who are here, whether you're watching or you're listening live or on the replay. We're really happy to have you. If you'd like to be a guest, if you have something that you want to share, please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and book your session. A couple of quick announcements that I want to share. Red and I have been working diligently on our latest book that is available right now for pre-order. The official launch for the paperback and the hardback is the International Day of Listening, which is September 21st. So what is this book, Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening, about? You probably think you're a great listener, right? Many people do. But the truth is, people are not listening at an elevated level. If you are doing something else at the same time that you're listening, it's impossible to be listening at an elevated level. You are basically hearing and getting part of the conversation, but you're missing a lot of it. If when someone else is speaking, you're thinking about something else, you're not listening at an elevated level. If when someone's speaking, you're thinking, oh, this person has a problem and I have a perfect solution for them, you're not listening. If someone's speaking and you find yourself becoming highly agitated, emotional, and you're interrupting, you're not listening. You think you are because this is the typical behavior pattern that we've known for most of our lives. This book will help you in many ways. There are testimonials, there are case studies, and most importantly, there are actually 2 quizzes in this book. So this book helps provide solutions for deeper connections, better relationships, and more authentic conversations. It's already been an Amazon #1 bestseller since it was released as an ebook. So if you are looking to take your game to a new level, if you're looking to have a better relationship with somebody, or you're looking for a deeper connection, or you're really interested in having conversations that have meaning as opposed to just someone blithering on and talking about the weather, which the weather's important, of course, but learning how to listen at an elevated level will definitely separate you from everyone else. You can pick up a copy of this book on ebook for 99 cents. We also have Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening course. And when you take this course, guess what the great news is? You'll be watching role plays of people demonstrating ineffective patterns of behavior. And what happens over and over again, people take the course and they say to me, wow, I saw myself in one of the role plays. I saw my wife and I in one of the role plays. I saw my son and I in one of those role plays. I saw my boss and myself. So this course, when you finish it, it's 2 hours. It's online, on demand. You will be an official member of our team at USA Global TV and Radio. That's right. You'll be an elevated listener. We have elevated listeners from all over the world who are incorporating what they've learned into their work. You get a certificate of completion, and you can put that on your website so that people know when they're working with you, you're actually listening. We require all of our team members to be elevated listeners because we want our guests to know that this is a safe space for them to share their story, their journey. Finally, I am super excited to be speaking at the World Summit on Women and Girls in Philadelphia, October 20th through the 22nd. And this is an initiative of the Justina Mutali Foundation, Hands Across Philadelphia. If you happen to be in the area, please do join us. You can find out more information by going to the website for World Summit on Women and Girls. All right. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll be right back with Talking Heads. Bye for now.